Welcome back. Our next guests are the executive director of the Kingsbridge-Riverdale-Van Development Corporation, an editor and an actor who has had roles in films and TV productions like Unraveled, Law and Order, Special Victims Unit, SVU, and they're all here to speak about their roles in putting together the series, Wake Up Call, and so much more. So please welcome to the show, Tracy Shelton and Pete Maddocks and Vega Montanez. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So you've been working on this, huh?
Yes.
And it speaks to what's happening today in the world today.
Yeah, it's a very interesting story about the new governor of New York who's trying to deal with bringing back what the city's supposed to be and what the city should feel like after everything we suffered through the pandemic.
Your new governor being Kathy Hochul?
Being
your new governor.
Being Pete Maddocks.
I really, I find it, thank you very much for having us on Bronx-based. This is really an honor. Love it. And I just want to say huge kudos to our editor-in-chief, Vega, for bringing this home. And a huge congratulations to the brains and the boss of Wake Up Call, which is Tracy right here. Yeah. She wrote it, she did everything. She's a complete boss, and she just deserves a huge congratulations. Well, I would just say real quick, you said this before, and you're absolutely right, that it is very timely, right? So what I've always said about this story is it's timely and it's timeless. So it's timely as what we just spoke about as, wow, look what's going on in the country. Look what's going on in New York. A lot of challenges. You know, you don't have to be any party, Democrat, Republican, but you don't have to forget about that. It's just there's a lot of challenges going on. A lot of people are looking for direction, leadership, you know, as you said. Also, where it's timeless, everyone can relate to being a mother or a father, and they have to go to work and they have to balance their family. And usually a lot of the time, you kind of are at work more than you are with your family, just the hours are, right? So this governor, Julian McCallum, who I play, he's struggling with that. And there's a lot of drama in it, and I think people can relate to it. So I think it's kind of cool.
What prompted you into writing this? What were your thoughts at the time? You said, you know what sparked it?
Right. So Pete is an actor, and he has a real passion for film. And like all actors during the pandemic, there wasn't really any work. The industry, like a lot of industries, took a huge hit. And so we were talking, and this was last January 2022, about Pete getting back. He's like, I really love to act again. You know, I haven't acted since before the pandemic, and I really want something. So I wrote this essentially out of that. But then it just became so much more. And it was just a really interesting thing to do during the pandemic, because what the series itself does is it sort of walks you through the pandemic and the challenges that so many people faced, and the differences that you've got people who are scared to death of the pandemic and they're wearing gloves and masks up to here and the whole thing. And then you've got people who were like, I'm not into this. You know, I want my freedoms, and I don't really want to have to acquiesce to this. So you have all that range of different types of ways of handling it in the series itself. In this one episode, Wake Up Call, it's at this point, Julian McCallum is the governor, and his whole platform is about bringing New York out of the pandemic. So he's saying it's over. And it was essentially when we kind of felt like it was over. So that's sort of where this episode is, but it backs up to have episodes bringing everybody through the challenges.
Right. Pete, and the research was right there. Everything was in front of us all the time, right?
Right. And just dovetailing off what Tracy said is, we're trying to bring, like we said, this isn't political, you know, anything with, you know, parties, whatever you believe in. Every New Yorker, if you're born and raised in New York, or you're a New Yorker in general, you remember the city that never sleeps. That was our slogan.
On the radio.
The city that never sleeps. Yeah. And it kind of went to sleep a little bit with the pandemic and a lot of things that were going on. And
still hasn't woken up. I was downtown a couple of weekends ago, and I was like, this is insane. I'm in the middle of 40th. I was on like 39th or 40th. I'm just like, everything is closed. This is crazy. What happened to the city that where everything is always open and you
Right.
can always pop out and grab something. And now everything's become so commercial and so like franchise that all of these franchises are just operating hours are very specific. And so all of that is feeling like it's going away.
Vega, how did this touch your heart, and how did you touch, what this is all about?
Every project I work on touches my heart. That's why I jump into it as an editor. I'm not the editor that takes on things just for the pay. So like for me, one of the biggest things that I connected to in this project was just the overall emotion and relationships that happen, right? So one of the big element that we're touching on is the politics, the community, everything happening around. But in the deeper element is like what Pete touched on, right? There's the relationship between Julian and his wife and their daughter, because that is now much more complicated now that Julian is out in the public all the time. He has to spend, there's periods of time during his campaign where he had to be away from the family and he had to be quarantined because he was out on the road and the family wasn't. So how does that all impact? And just showing that human emotion of like, yes, there was the political and the financial turmoil that rolls through the pandemic, but the emotional element and the personal ramifications are huge as well.
Right.
Tracy, what do you want? Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
What do you want people to take away from this after watching?
I just think that it's about the struggles that, people face and the way that they handle them. And so I think it's, I guess there's a couple of things. One is, like Vega said, the bigger issue of let's get New York back up going again. Let's everybody rally behind doing that. And then there's also the sort of more softer approach of let's all be tolerant of each other, because the pandemic really brought out a lot of differences in the way that people viewed the pandemic itself, but also a broader view. So I think we all just need to take a step back, have conversations again, not so much fighting, navigate through all of this and bring New York back, to the city that never sleeps again. And that's just, the leader of the world.
Pete, you're going to bring us back? You're going to
Yeah.
run for?
So
I think
actually,
you're going to run for governor.
She just stole my line. Right? So, she stole my line. So what I was just going to say, the one line I was going to say that's in the film that I really liked saying, because I'm very prideful of me being born and raised in New York City, my parents being born and raised in New York City, my grandparents. I mean, I think it was way back. Is the one line that I said at the end of my speech in the very beginning of the film, is I say, let New York not just be the leader of the state or of the country, but once again, a leader of the world. Let's roll up our sleeves. Let's get back to work. Let's get back to the city that never sleeps.
That's a wrap. I think we're going to vote for. Are you going to run?
I'm not that smart. I can't hold up well under pressure.
And just quickly, we are on the film festival circuit, so we're
good.
really excited about that. We did our first sort of screening of the event locally in July. We entered into film festivals in August. We started getting in some right away. We've already been to one. And that's the,
you want me to grab it?
the New York International Film Festival. Sorry.
Okay, this is your camera right here.
Yeah.
Hold that thing right
Yeah,
there.
and we won an award
Congratulations.
for, Best Web TV series. So, and now we're going to Hollywood, Florida.
Florida.
For the Hollywood, Florida Film Festival next month, and we'll be screened there November 17th.
Yeah.
So, it's really exciting stuff. And then meeting Vega and bringing Vega onto the project connected us to his work. And he has a film coming out, Burden of 9 Lives. And that's
also
actually
stars in.
Yes,
good.
and Pete's in that, and he has a big screening event coming up November 11th. So it's just exciting stuff.
I'm loving it. Where can we go to get more information? Because they're going to wrap me.
WakeUpCallTheSeries.com.
All one word. No
Yep.
hyphen.
WakeUpCallTheSeries.com.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks a
for
lot.
having
I'll
us.
share
Thank
more.
you.
Good luck with
Absolutely.
everything.
It
Get
was
some
a
more
blast.
awards. We'll be checking it out.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
We'll take a quick break right here. I've got more open coming up. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet. Here we go.